Opening day of round 2 at the World Baseball Classic reminded 4 teams in Tokyo that timing is everything. Despite the big bats of Cuba, the key hit never came. And time after time, the Netherlands defense shut down every Cuban rally. This year's surprise team stood 1 strike away from the greatest win in their history. In fact, Chinese Taipei was less than half a second from beating Japan on their home turf, but it was not to be. Samurai Japan made the late innings their time, and time ran out on Cinderella. Tonight, desperation for Chinese Taipei and Cuba. Win and play again. Lose, go home. Time to deliver. Welcome back to the Tokyo Dome. Welcome back to round 2. Welcome to win or go home for Chinese Taipei and Cuba. Hi everyone, Rich Waltz along with Buck Martinez. Now in Puerto Rico and Phoenix, that's pool play. That's nothing. This is elimination. Win or go home. For both managers, those are big words.
Well, they sure are, Rich. And the one thing we have known about Cuba is they didn't expect to be in this situation. The Cuba team, for a second consecutive tournament, is looking at the prospects of going home in round 2. Chinese Taipei, the way they played Japan last night, feel like they belong, and they're anxious to stay alive in this tournament.
Cuba, big bats. They hit 2 home runs, but that was it, and 5 double plays against the Netherlands. If you're a veteran player for this Cuban national team, this World Baseball Classic only comes around 4 years ago. Maybe the Frederick Cepedas or the Yulieski Gurriels are feeling a little pressure right now.
Yeah, I think they are, and those are the veterans. They've participated in all 3 World Baseball Classics, and they need to come up with some big hits. Cepeda has hit well this year, 462 average, he's 6 for 13, but he hasn't had any real big hits. Gurriel, he's 28 years old, getting to the twilight of his career on the international scene. Hit a home run last night. Because of that, Victor Mesa has bumped him up in the order. They need these veterans to come through big with the bats tonight.
If you stayed up late or got up early and you saw the Japan-Chinese Taipei game, it was incredible. I mean, it would have been the biggest win in Chinese Taipei history. They were 1 strike away, 1 swipe tag away. How do they respond? I guess they would look to their shortstop, Lin Shen, who is their leader, to have a big night.
Yeah, Lin did a good job last night in the field and at the plate. He is truly their leader. He's their cleanup guy, and he plays in the middle of the field. This play right here saved a run, a huge play. A couple of times the defense really came through with clutch plays. And then in the 8th inning, the middle of the order did the damage to regain the lead. It was Lin who got the double in the middle of that rally that produced a run. Japan would tie it up, but they need their cleanup hitter to put together the type of game he had last night against Japan.
Last night, if Chinese Taipei had beaten Japan, it would have been the biggest win in their country's international baseball history. They take down Cuba, that would be right there as well. Alfredo de Spain, power bat for Cuba on display. Chinese Taipei and Cuba next. Welcome back in Tokyo Dome. Chinese Taipei and Cuba ready to go. Starting lineups. The visitors will be Chinese Taipei, and they lead it off with their electric left fielder, Yang Daikang. Lin Jie-Shuen is in center field. Hong Chao-Ming was 2 for 3 with an RBI. He's had a good tournament. He is homered as well. Lin Shen, we told you about him at short. Josie Chi, the designated hitter. Chen Young-ji is at third base. Chong Chen-Ming in right field. Cao Chi-Kong is the catcher. And the second baseman, Kuo Yen-Wen. And they'll be facing a right-hander and a veteran of international play, Danny Betancourt.
Danny Betancourt, you see his line from his first start in the Classic. He pitched against China, went 4 2/3, He struck out 8 in that ball game, and Cuba would go on to tie a World Baseball Classic record with 15 strikeouts in that game against China. Betancourt's got a good fastball. We've seen him overpower the Chinese lineup, but this is a much more potent lineup he's dealing with tonight in Chinese Taipei. When you look at the Chinese Taipei hitters, they are strong hitters, and they certainly have a little more pop than we anticipated.
Yeah, they went toe-to-toe with Japan. They get Cuba tonight. Here's the defense for Cuba.
Alfredo de Spain is in left field. Guillermo Heredia can really cover ground in center. Yasmani Tomas gets a start in right field. Bell is out of the lineup. Gurriel and Arrea Baruena on the left side. Fernandez and Abreu on the right side. And Frank Morejon gets the start tonight. Morejon came in defensively and got a single in his only at bat. He is the better defensive catcher of the 3 catchers on the Cuban roster.
And there is the skipper of Team Cuba, Victor Mesa. Ready to go as Danny Betancourt takes aim on Yang Daikong. There will be a bit of a home field advantage here for Chinese Taipei. They have fans that have come up, and the Japanese fans have embraced this team a little bit as well. First pitch swinging, and Yang Daikong fouls it off. One of the things, Buck, I think we found out right away, this is a Chinese Taipei team that was not intimidated by 42,000 people yesterday, not intimidated by the 2-time champions Japan, and you don't expect that to happen against Cuba.
No, they showed what they're all made about when they regained the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning after Japan tied it up 2-2. Shea Chong-hung, the manager, has got a lot of confidence in his team, and he is not intimidated by the powerhouse Cuban lineup.
Check swing at a breaking ball. He went around, says Carlos Ray, the first base umpire. Here's a look.
Breaking ball, and he certainly did go around. That is a strike, and he's in hole 1 and 2.
Betancourt with a breaking ball that misses outside. Betancourt was terrific against China. 4 2/3, just a hit, 8 strikeouts. But as you noted, it's a very different lineup that he is facing here tonight. And he's working with a different catcher. Frank Morejon getting the start.
Morejon is a very good defensive catcher. He's got a strong arm, good presence behind the plate. As you mentioned, he came into the game as a defensive replacement last night and got a hit in his only at bat.
Fastball is fouled back and out of play. So Morejon with a count 2 and 2. Goes through the signs. Fastball in. Sliding stop. Gurriel. Terrific play. Yulieski Gurriel at third base robs Yang Daikong of a base hit.
Daikong made a good swing. A bouncing ball to the left of the third baseman. Gurriel pops to his feet quickly. He's got a lot of range. He formerly played at second base for Cuba. He's moved over to third base as he's gotten up there in years. He's 28 years old, still has plenty of range to play third base, and has a very strong arm.
Then Josh Schwen, the center fielder for Chinese Taipei. What a night it was last night with Chinese Taipei and Japan battling into the late hours. Nearly 5 hours and 10 innings before Japan would finish it. And Chinese Taipei did not go down easily. They had a couple of runners on in the bottom of the 10th. Well, you could hear the crowd and you can see that youngster's happy to be here. There is a large number of people out in right field, and it sounds like they are squarely behind Chinese Taipei. That's a rocket, but it's foul.
One thing you're going to see tonight when you watch this team from Taiwan hit is they hit more like a Western team. They like to watch Major League Baseball. They think about pulling the ball, hitting the ball hard, and Cuba will have to make sure they don't leave any breaking balls on the inner half of the plate like that last pitch. Shea Chung Hong's got a lot of confidence in his hitters to hit.
Fastball got it by him. 89 miles an hour for Betancourt.
Well, we mentioned Betancourt punched out 8 in his first start of the tournament, and he blows his fastball right by Lin.
On to the first baseman, Hong Chong Ming. And Ming comes up now. 2 for 3 last night, drove in a run, 4 for 13 in the tournament, and has homered. Betancourt with a breaking ball that misses.
Obviously a huge start for Betancourt, trying to keep the Cuban team alive in this tournament.
1-0 pitch. Inside out on a fastball, and he dumps it down the right field line. Hong Chong Ming. A 2-out single, and Chinese Taipei has their first hit.
Hong Chong Ming was on base 4 times in last night's game, and he stays inside this ball. It really kind of beat him, but he's strong enough to fight it off and flare it into right. He had a couple of singles to center, drove in a run, and scored a run. He was hit by a pitch and walked intentionally. He had a busy night.
Now the cleanup hitting shortstop, and what manager doesn't like a cleanup hitting shortstop? Lin Shishen. 1 for 5 with a double. 4 for 15 in the Classic. One thing we saw in yesterday's ball game, this is not a big ballpark. It's 400 to straightaway center, but just 360 in the gaps. So with a runner at first, you hit a ball in the gap, you're not guaranteed of scoring that run from first. Just 326 down each line.
Good outfielders for Cuba. They've got speed, they've got strength in their arms, and they cover a lot of ground. And you're right, there's not a whole lot of room in this outfield. It's much cozier than the ballpark we saw in Fukuoka.
Backup slider for a strike. It's 1-1.
Yeah, and Betancourt's going to have to be careful not to throw too many of those. We mentioned this team from Chinese Taipei likes to pull the ball in general, and if he hangs a breaking ball, he's liable to give up a long one.
The Chinese Taipei losing to Japan, Cuba losing to the Netherlands. And that sets up a Netherlands-Japan matchup tomorrow night in Tokyo. And the winner of that game will punch their ticket for San Francisco. On the ground and to second, Fernandez flips. Arrua Barruena makes his first appearance at second. And the inning, the half inning, is over, scoreless and underway. The Teflon roof of the Tokyo Dome. And you can see the Chinese Taipei fans are here. They were terrific in Taichung in round 1, and they've traveled well here to Tokyo. There's a look at Lo Qinglong, 27-year-old, and the right-hander making the biggest start of his international baseball career.
He's got a lot of experience in the minor leagues. He signed as a 16-year-old with the Colorado Rockies and made 14 starts way back in 2002. Played a total of 11 different seasons in the minor leagues. He spent last season in independent ball in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Guillermo Heredia, the center fielder for Cuba, Yulieski Gurriel, and Jose Fernandez await, and a fastball high. If Chinese Taipei gets anything out of Lo Qinglong like they did from last night's starter, Chien-Ming Wang, they'll be very, very happy. Chien-Ming Wang has made 2 starts. He has 12 scoreless innings in the Classic.
Yeah, we talked to Chien-Ming Wang before tonight's game. He's very pleased with the way he threw the ball. He felt very healthy. And he said he made some adjustments after the first couple of innings and got that patented good sinking fastball to be more effective for him later on in the game.
Hensley Meulens, the manager of the Netherlands, said one of the keys in beating Cuba yesterday was jumping out in front and staying in the lead and keeping the pressure on and not having to play from behind. And you got to think, if you're Chinese Taipei, you don't want to give up early runs to a Cuban team that when they get rolling can really roll.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how both of these teams react as the game unfolds. This is a pretty good sinking fastball that catches the strike zone right at the knees. The veteran Jerry Davis behind the plate tonight.
Heredia trying to buy ball 4 there. 3-2 coming. Fouled at the plate. And the count stays at 3-2. Heredia was 1 for 3 yesterday.
It's another fastball. It's only 84 miles an hour, but it's in a good spot, and it's got some pretty good late movement.
Heredia, a youngster, just 21. Pulled on the ground to third. Chen Young-ji across the diamond. Chinese Taipei very good defensively last night. Here's Cuba's lineup. You've seen Heredia. Gurriel's been moved up to the 2 spot. Fernandez has had a terrific classic. Frederick Cepeda, Jose Abreu. Buck talked about the pressure on those two. Alfredo Despain, big home run against the Netherlands, big power. Yasmani Tomas has earned himself another start, and Frank Morahomes is in the starting lineup. Barbaro Arrua Barruena has become a favorite of all to pronounce, and he's fun to watch as well. He's a very talented shortstop for Cuba. This is Gurriel. Now, you see the average for Gurriel, just 176 in the Classic, but yesterday he looked a lot better. He was 2 for 4 with a home run.
Because of that game, he was bumped up to the 2nd spot in the order. Alexei Bell hit 2nd.
Got jammed, and it's a looping fly ball that is foul and out of play.
Eski Gurriel back in the 1st inning makes a nice play on this ball, sliding, hopping to his feet quickly in time to throw out Jung Dai Kong. He's a veteran. We mentioned the veterans need to step up, and I don't care who you are. Your manager, wherever you're playing, likes to get the leadership from the veterans. Get those key hits. Get the momentum in your favor early in the game.
0-2. Wow, that's crushed. And that's why here in Japan, in those seats, there is a box underneath those seats, and it comes with a glove and a helmet.
Now, Gurriel showing signs he's getting close to breaking out, and he hooks it down into those field level seats. And fan who caught the ball leaned over and lost her hat, so the 3rd baseman Chen Young-ji ran over and picked it up for her.
Gurriel getting tips from not only his manager Victor Mesa, but his father, who's also a manager, Lourdes Gurriel, who is here with the Cuban team and in uniform. Chopper to 3rd. Chen Young-ji. Been impressed with that left side of the defense for Chinese Taipei. They're very good. Here's the rest of the defense.
In the outfield, Jung Dai Kong, the leadoff batter, is the left fielder. He can play left or right. Lin Jia-Xuen is in center, and Chong Chen-Ming is in right. We mentioned Chen Yun-Gye at 3rd. He's got a good glove and a strong arm. Lin Jia-Xuen played very well at shortstop last night. Kuo Yen-Wen is the 2nd baseman. Peng Chong-Ming is the 1st baseman, and Kao-Ji Kong came into the ball game late last night and did a good job. He picked up a base hit in his only at bat.
And a first pitch inside to Jose Fernandez, who's been one of Cuba's best offensive players. 7 for 12, a gaudy .583, and 6 runs scored, a couple of doubles. He was 2 for 4 yesterday in the loss to the Netherlands. And he takes away from Lo Ching Lung. Both managers will have a quick hook. This is an elimination game. And you know Victor Mesa will be out there early and often if his starter struggles.
Quite a contrast in styles in the respective dugouts from the managers. And we heard after the game, Shea Chong Hong was very complimentary of the effort Team Japan put up, and he was also grateful for the effort his players gave him.
It's a great scene after that ball game. There are two things that happened, and there were 43,000, and they were all here when it ended. The entire Chinese Taipei team made a circle around the mound and doffed their caps to the crowd, and even the Japanese fans were appreciative of that. Well, we've seen this with Cuba throughout the tournament. It doesn't matter if there's 3 balls and they take a pitch. That pitch was right down the middle, and he was walking down the first baseline.
Yeah, it has been like that throughout this tournament. The umpires have shown great restraint, not reacting to the animated Cuban players.
Smoked on a hop, and it eats Kuo Yen Wen alive. Into right field it goes, and Fernandez continues to sting the ball here in Tokyo.
Kuo Yen Wen's got to stay in front of this ball. He is deep, anticipating a ball being pulled. It's right at him. If he just holds his ground and knocks it down, he's going to have plenty of time to throw out Fernandez at first. Just get in front of it. Play it off your chest if you have to. You can't give this Cuban team many more opportunities. You've got to take the outs when you get them.
Right now, the manager of Chinese Taipei, Shea Chong Hong, with his interpreter, talking to Jerry Davis, the home plate umpire.
Well, you see so many more visits to the umpire in international play. There's a lot of gamesmanship throughout this tournament, making sure that you don't touch the baseball with your batting gloves.
Yeah, we found that out.
Victor Mesa.
We'll see that again today, I suspect. Here's Cepeda now, the switch hitter, with Fernandez at first. And there's intrigue too, and you brought up a good point before the ball game, Buck. It's because these teams don't see each other. It's not like the major leagues where you've got video and you've played teams and you know which players are whom and what they can do. Batting practice is an important time for the opponent to watch the opposing hitters.
Yeah, it sure is. And yesterday, before the game, Chinese Taipei came out without having their jerseys and numbers on their back. And it was a problem twofold. First of all, their opponents, Team Japan, couldn't recognize who was who. But also the scouts that are here to see these players and possibly get to a point where they might want to sign somebody, they need to know who they're looking at. And there was a bit of confusion because obviously the doubleheader, the Cubans hadn't left the clubhouse yet, and Chinese Taipei was waiting to get into the clubhouse. So there was a lot of players that just threw on a jersey, came out and hit, and didn't have their numbered jersey on.
That drive by Fernandez, by the way, was a base hit. And Frederick Cepeda, who is a dangerous hitter, 6 for 13 in the Classic, 1 for 3 yesterday, and you've got good speed at first in Fernandez. Cepeda, 32. Runner bluffs. And missing inside is Lo Ching Lung. He's already thrown 20 pitches. This is second round action, so the pitch count is up at 80.
Now, because of the nature of that game last night, going into extra innings, the Chinese Taipei team used 6 relievers. Everybody is eligible to come back because they kept the pitch count down.
Runner goes, driven, deep, right field, and gone. I mean, way gone. Frederick Cepeda gives Cuba a 2-0 lead.
Frederick Cepeda is a veteran of all 3 World Baseball Classics, and we mentioned in the open how they needed the veterans to step up and come up with a big hit. Well, Cepeda answered the call. He extends on that fastball that worked its way out over the heart of the plate and didn't miss it. Cepeda has been one of the most productive hitters throughout the history of the World Baseball Classic, and he delivers a big home run in the first.
Jose Abreu now. And low to the plate. It's fouled off. Here's another look.
Well, you can see there is no doubt about that swing. And when he started this tournament, his bat from the left side wasn't quite as quick as it is right now. His timing's coming around, and he's looking more dangerous with each at bat.
This is game number 5 for the Cubans, and that's home run number 7 for them.
Well, we mentioned how the second baseman, Kuo Yen Wen, had a chance to end the inning. It was a hot shot off the bat of Fernandez, but he had a shot to end the inning.
That one is cranked foul into the upper reaches of the Tokyo Dome. Now, Abreu is homered in the Classic.
Boy, this is a powerful ball club, and they've got their backs up against the wall, and Abreu is a very strong hitter. Gets out in front of this pitch. He was 0 for 4 in the game last night and stranded 4 base runners.
5 double plays by the Netherlands, and Abreu bounced into a pair of them, both times ground balls to short. That Netherlands defense, their infield, terrific.
Sander Bogarts at third, Anderson Simmons at short, and Jonathan Scope at second. They've got great range. They're all basically shortstops, and they can really play on the infield.
Breaking ball got him. But a big fly by Frederick Cepeda as Cuba on top, 2-0. Live shot above Tokyo. Big shot by Cuba on the home run. And a 2-0 lead. Our aerial shots, the World Baseball Classic made possible by MetLife's Snoopy 1, a blimp with a legacy in sports that is as rich as the images it captures. Put a leader in your lineup with MetLife. Buck Martinez met Snoopy tonight, who was
I did.
in the press box, shaking hands, kissing babies.
I told him to bear down. He threw the first pitch out in last night's game, and he threw one wide. I said, come on, Snoopy.
Chinese
Let's get loose.
Snoopy's been following us. He was in Fukuoka for a week. And here in Tokyo, Josie Chi up for Chinese Taipei with Chen Youngji and Chong Chen Ming to follow against Danny Betancourt, who now is working with a 2-0 lead.
In the game last night against Japan, Chinese Taipei had a 2-0 lead. And they were playing from out front most of the game. Japan tied it up in the 8th, and we wondered how Chinese Taipei was going to handle that late in the game, being tied by Japan, but they answered with a run in the bottom of the 8th to come right back and take the lead.
Yeah, as improbable as it was for Chinese Taipei to have the lead late in the game, for them to reclaim it was astounding. And then for the game to come down as it was, in that 9th inning, Japan, with 2 outs, sent Takahashi Toritani to second base. He stole second. If he's thrown out, it's ball game, and it's Cuba against Japan tonight. But as it was, it gave Hirokazu Ibata a chance to drive in the run, and he did just that, a line drive over the head of the shortstop.
I tell you what, all the managing we have seen in this tournament so far, they've made some great decisions, even last night in the 8th inning. Great decision by Chinese Taipei. Go back into the game, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. And Japan steals second. Throw is a good one. Jerry Davis, the veteran umpire, right on top of the play, and calls Toritani safe. He would later on come in to score the tying run on an RBI base hit by Ibata. But last night, Shea Chung Hong made a pitching change with a 2-1 count and 2 outs. Went to his closer, and they were able to get out of the inning.
If Japan gets to San Francisco and wins their 3rd consecutive World Baseball Classic, they will go back to that stolen base by Toritani. And look at it much like Red Sox fans look at Dave Roberts' stolen base in 2004 in the American League Championship Series, when the Red Sox were trailing 3-0 in the series, and late in Game 4, Roberts narrowly stole second, and the Red Sox came back, won that game, and won that series. And while you might say, if you're a Major League Baseball fan, that doesn't compare, it does. If you come here and talk to the Japanese players, you see the Japanese fans, the Japanese media. Liner into center field. That's a base hit. Chen Young-ji into center field for a base hit. And so Chinese Taipei has their second hit.
Chen Young-ji was over 5 in the game last night. This ball is up, and he rides it right back up the middle through the infield into center.
And the reason I say that that stolen base would have the same impact as the Dave Roberts stolen base is that the television numbers from last night are not in yet. But in Fukuoka, when Japan played Brazil, a third of all television sets in Japan, a 35 share, were tuned to that game. So you got to think that last night's ratings were even higher because they are here in Tokyo, and it was a nail biter of a game. Here's the 0-1, and a snap throw down to first, and the runner back in, though he's tangled up with the first baseman, Jose Abreu.
Well, Morejon has a strong arm. We have seen that throughout this tournament, and the runner at first base, Chen Young-ji, thought about running, and you can see they pitched out. They anticipated it. Morejon goes to first base, and you can see Abreu. He put his right leg down in an attempt to block the base runner off the bag. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. How you counteract that as a base runner? You go in spikes first. That'll eliminate any of that thought. I mean, people have done it for years. Bobby Grits did it for years at second base with the Angels. Doug DeCinces always did it at third base on pickoff throws from Bob Boone. It's part of the game. But these two teams are playing for the first time in the WBC, and they're not really that familiar with one another.
I sense a little bit of animosity there towards those that pair of Angel infielders there. Did you happen to go in spikes first?
No.
You weren't stealing any bases.
I wasn't stealing. Thank you very much. Good of you to point that out.
Chinese Taipei is down a couple. Freddie Cepeda with a 2-run homer, and Cuba's on top. Chen Young-ji's at first. Jiang Chen-ming at the plate. Jiang Chen-ming is 32. He is known for getting big hits in international play, and he did it last night. He was 2 for 5 last night. That was close at first.
And his second hit came with 1 out in the bottom of the 10th. They had back-to-back singles after the first out of the inning, and then the game ended on a double play. Another look at this last throw over to first, and the base runner, Chen Young-ji, gets his hand back in ahead of the tag. Boy, they're wearing him out over there at first. They think something's up. They've pitched out twice in this at-bat. This is going to be a very slow-paced game. Nobody is going to be in a rush to play this game, and you can bet Victor Mesa is going to guess with the manager across the diamond. They're going to pitch out. They're going to throw to first base. He doesn't want Chinese Taipei to gather any momentum whatsoever now that Cuba has taken an early lead.
Danny Betancourt again over to first. You can hear the Chinese Taipei fans who are behind the first base dugout and then out in right field. And I would think there's a lot of Japanese fans too that are here rooting for Chinese Taipei. We talked about last night. Taiwan, of course, was one of the first countries to come to Japan's aid almost 2 years ago with the earthquake and the tsunami that followed and all the tragedy and the devastation. And last night there were all kinds of signs that said, "Thank you, Taiwan," by the Japanese fans. They were very warm and receptive towards the Chinese Taipei team.
Yeah, and there's a great relationship between the two countries, and we've seen that evident throughout this tournament.
Now the runner does go, and that's a fly ball into center field. And Chong flies out. So 2 outs. Here's the bracket. The Netherlands with their win, and Japan with the come from behind 10th inning win advance to tomorrow night. And that is a winner go to San Francisco game. The winner of this game goes to game 5. And we'll take on the loser of tomorrow's game, and that'll be a elimination game as well.
They must have a pretty good scouting report on Chen Young-ji, the runner at first, because they are wearing him out. They've made about 8 throws to first base since he singled with 1 out.
Betancourt misses. 30 pitches for Betancourt. He's got 2 outs here in the second. 2-0, Cuba on top. A Cepeda home run to deep right center field. Betancourt's second start of the Classic. He was nearly unhittable in his first start. 8 strikeouts, 4 2/3 innings.
But to really qualify that effort by Betancourt, you've got to remind people that that was against China. And China just didn't have much of an offensive attack. In fact, in that ball game, Betancourt struck out 8, and they were mercy ruled as Cuba scored 1 in the first, 1 in the third, and then 4 in the fourth, and then 6 in the fifth. And the game was called after 6.5.
All right, who had that only hit?
Who do you think?
Ray Chang. Ray Chang being Ray Chang. And Betancourt has lost the strike zone. He has paid so much attention to Chen Young-ji at first base.
Yeah, and this is where managers would say, listen, you're facing the number 8 hitter in your lineup. You've got a 2-run lead. You got 2 outs, and you fall 3-0 behind. Throw a strike. This guy's not going to take you deep. He's hitting 8th for a reason. Kaji Kong gets a start tonight. He came into the ball game late last night as a defensive replacement and singled in the bottom of the 10th in his only at bat.
Breaking ball, he hammers it into left field. And so Chinese Taipei has not been overwhelmed by Betancourt. They've got 3 hits.
I don't care who you are as a hitter. You see enough pitches in a particular at bat, you've got a much better chance. And Betancourt fell behind 3-0. And Kaji Kong delivers a 2-out base hit.
.80 is the pitch limit. If you go over 30, you miss a day. If you go over 50, you're done for the second round. The first of what we expect to be many visits to the mound by Victor Mesa. Excuse me. Not Victor Mesa. He sent his pitching coach out. I apologize, Victor, but he'll be out there soon. Juan de Dios Peña, the Cuban pitching coach, was out. And so here's an opportunity for Chinese Taipei with runners first and second. Kuo Yen Wen. He's had a good tournament, and he smokes it off the foot of Betancourt. El Grillo throws him out at first. That one was ticketed for center field, and Chinese Taipei comes up empty, and Betancourt is limping towards the dugout. In Tokyo, win or go home, 2-0 Cuba. That the beef bowl, one of the many things you can order at the concession stands.
Very interesting concession stands, electronic menus, and they sell out. And I saw the guy with the remote coming up and punching the sellout sign on those. And there was a lot of good food that was sold out, Richie.
I can't believe they are out of edamame.
Yep, edamame went fast tonight.
Alfredo de Spain, his home run went fast out of here to right field against the Netherlands. It was a rocket shot opposite field, showing you the strength of this fire plug of a player. De Spain is 26, 5'9", 215. And he is every bit of 215. Stocky, strong, explosive. You made a great comparison when you said a little bit of Kirby Puckett when you see him.
Yeah, he is a fire plug, and he's thinking about doing some damage. He's not thinking about a soft single to right, that's for sure.
Lo Chi Lung with a two-seamer that rides in. Powerfully built.
Excuse me, Rich. He had a big Olympic run in 2008. Went 3 for 4 in a game against Canada.
That is a high, high pop. And not an easy ball to track. You can see the center fielder going in and out. Lin Jia-Xuen looking up into the Teflon skies here in Tokyo. Upcoming schedule: Puerto Rico, Dominican versus Spain. And in Phoenix, Canada takes on Mexico. Canada stumbling out of the blocks, and Mexico coming back strong with a win over the USA. Puerto Rico and Venezuela. And then USA takes on everybody's darling right now, and that's Italy.
Italy 2-0. They mercy ruled Canada. They won 14-4. Mexico jumped all over R.A. Dickey. Adrian Gonzalez hit a big 2-run home run in that game. Mexico beat USA 5-2.
Yasmani Tomas for Cuba, and Tomas a one-hopper this time. Kuo Yen Wen gets it, and he throws him out at first. Here are the scores. We were up late last night with our doubleheader here in Japan, and Japan came from behind to tie it. They had to tie it again and finally win it in the 10th. Puerto Rico had a tough time against Spain, but was able to beat them. There's that mercy rule: Italy over Canada, and Mexico 5-2 in Pool D in Phoenix over Team USA.
Mexico has always been a challenge for Team USA, and there was a huge crowd at Chase Field, 44,256 to watch that Mexico-USA game.
High chop and a nice play. Chen Young-Ji's had a busy night so far at third. 2-0. That Cepeda home run is holding up. 2-0. Cuba on top of Chinese Taipei in the third. Make sure you visit worldbaseballclassic.com. Bookmark it as your one-stop source for news, video highlights, and online shopping. You got authentic jerseys, caps, collectible items, and more. You want a Chinese Taipei hat? You want a Netherlands jersey? That's where to go. WorldBaseballClassic.com on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. If you're just happening by this one, Cuba has a 2-0 lead. And that pitch is rifled down the left field line and foul. Now it's a home run that has Cuba on the board. It was Frederick Cepeda. And Danny Betancourt is throwing a shutout, but Buck, that's misleading, because Chinese Taipei has had good swings against this Cuban right-hander.
They sure have. They had a couple of hits in the second inning. And we mentioned that Betancourt is throwing an awful lot of breaking balls, and he's leaving those breaking balls up, and somebody's going to run into one in this Chinese Taipei lineup.
Yang Dai-Kong plays in the Japanese league. In fact, a terrific player. He started in the All-Star game, won a Gold Glove, and in that All-Star game, he led off the game with a home run. I mean, he hit only 7 home runs all last year, so to muscle up in the All-Star game, that must have been some moment.
Yeah, he's pretty flamboyant. We have seen him throughout these 2 games, and in last night's game against Japan, during batting practice, he went over and said hello to a lot of his teammates and some of his opponents that he plays against during the regular season.
Betancourt misses down low, and the count's 2-2. Betancourt's pitch count is up a bit. This is pitch number 40. And a breaking ball misses down low.
Well, we know one thing for sure. Victor Mesa has gotten everybody into the game. Mesa is quick to go to the bullpen, and he's used just about everybody on his roster at one point or another. So there's not going to be anybody that will be rattled by this atmosphere. They've all had a chance to pitch.
So Betancourt with a 3-2 pitch and a breaking ball down low. It's a terrific take by Young Dai Kong. And a leadoff walk here in the 3rd. You were right. He didn't hesitate. He's got a 2-0 lead. And the bullpen is getting active.
Left-hander is Norberto Gonzalez, and Gonzalez came into the ball game and faced 1 batter. Gave up a sacrifice bunt, came out of the ball game, and get used to that picture in the dugout. Victor Mesa wonders why in the world you walk the leadoff guy. We're up by 2.
Lin Jiaxuan, the center fielder, he struck out his first at bat. Betancourt pours across a fastball, 0-1. The winner of this game stays alive and will play the loser of Japan and Netherlands. The loser of this game will be handed plane tickets after the game. On the ground, Gurriel, Fernandez, quick turn, and the tag. Great play by Abreu at first. And the Cuban infield turns it a flashy double play.
Very good double play, and Gurriel has been busy at 3rd. Again, he goes to his left, gloves it, and makes a strong, accurate throw to 2nd. Jose Fernandez comes off the bag and makes a wide throw, but Abreu vacates the bag, comes off, and makes the tag on the batter runner, Lin Jiaxuan, for a double play. That'll calm things a little bit in their bullpen.
Everybody stand down. Peng Chong-ming, first baseman, takes a letter-high fastball for a strike. Peng singled back in the 1st. Chinese Taipei had a base hit in the 1st. They had 2 hits in the 2nd. In fact, they should have had 3 hits, but remember, Kuo Yen Wen, with runners 1st and 2nd and 2 outs, hit a smash off the leg of Betancourt, and the ball caromed to short for an out. Otherwise, it would at the very least be 2-1 Cuba.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to go into center field and lead to a run. It hit Betancourt and caromed right to the shortstop. Betancourt's thrown an awful lot of off-speed pitches, a slow breaking ball, a splitter, a very slow slider as well.
There's the slow breaking ball, and it's pulled foul.
He's really using a different approach than we saw against China when he started last time. He used a lot more fastballs against China, and obviously he's got a little bit greater respect for the lineup he's facing tonight.
One-two pitch, and it's fouled off. You want your baseball magazines, sabermetrics, Japanese style? They've got them here. Bookstores, team shops, Gurriel, another ground ball. And a nice play across the diamond. And Betancourt gets through the third and hangs on to that shutout. Tokyo Dome in Tokyo. Win or go home. That's what's at stake here tonight. Cuba beaten by the Netherlands yesterday, and Chinese Taipei in extra innings, beaten by Japan. When you think about Japan, here they are, a win away from San Francisco, and they've had two real close calls. That win over Brazil, they were trailing in the 8th in that one, and the win last night, trailing in the bottom of the 9th, trailing in the bottom of the 8th, tying it, and then trailing again in the 9th.
Yeah, offensively, they have had some concerns. They haven't really hit the ball the way they had hoped to so far.
Barbaro Arrua Barruena, the Cuban shortstop. El Grillo, the cricket, as he's known. One pitch. Lo Ching Lung trying to get stretched out. This is not a guy that has started or has significant innings in the Classic coming into this ball game.
He worked 2 innings in the first round down in Taichung. He pitched 2 innings, gave up 1 hit, and had a couple of strikeouts. Tell you what, he could be in a scoreless game himself. With 2 outs in the first inning, Jose Fernandez hit a hot shot right at the second baseman, Kuo Yen Wen, but Wen kind of olayed it, played it off to the side. It went as a base hit, and the next batter, Frederic Cepeda, hit a 2-run home run. It could be a 0-0 game.
3-1 pitch. Arrua Barruena is aboard. Leadoff walk. Cuba's been aggressive. You see Shea Chong Hong, and now he's very much like Victor Mesa in this spot. He cannot afford to let this game get out of hand, let Cuba get up 4 or 5 runs. Heredia to bunt. Something during batting practice we saw today that we have not seen in any of the Cuban batting practices. You see Yang Yao-sun in the bullpen. Today, every hitter in the Cuban lineup, even the big sluggers, were bunting. A round of just bunting, and that was late in batting practice.
Yeah, it was right at the end. A very unusual move by Victor Mesa, but he had all of his guys out bunting.
Drops it down, and the catcher comes out from behind the plate, and Cao Chi Kong makes the play.
Now, they will give up an out just to move a runner up 90 feet, and we have seen that with Mesa. We've seen it with Koji Yamamoto, the Japanese manager, as well. Something you wouldn't see in the major leagues on a regular basis. Gets the leadoff man on in the 3rd inning in a 2-run game, and you sacrifice him to second. That's the nature of international play. Runs are tough to come by, and when you get an opportunity, you're going to move up the runner with a sac bunt.
Well, this is a Game 7 situation. And although Victor Mesa told us you got to play every game in an international competition like it's an elimination game, this really is. And so that pressure and the tension ratcheted up.
Yelensky Gurriel with a big swing, and he really spent a lot of time with the flip drill behind batting practice, behind the cage during batting practice, and he was getting a steady diet of balls inside. He was trying to make contact right there. He swung right over the top of an inside pitch.
Here's the 0-1. Now, I've seen a lot of hitters in drills like that use a weighted bat, a heavier bat. Sometimes they'll even put the donut on, but I really haven't seen a whole lot of guys using a fungo when they take soft toss.
Yeah, and you have to admit, we've seen some strange things during batting practice. The Japanese have a bat that's about 50 inches long, and it looks like a long driver, if you will, but they use that during batting practice.
El Grillo's out at second. Nice play by the pitcher, and he's got the runner hung up. Len Shi-shin running him down, and Chinese Taipei executes terrifically on the rundown, something we've seen a couple teams struggle with. And Victor Mesa not happy, but a nice play by the pitcher, Lo Ching-lung. And there are 2 outs.
We had mentioned that Lo Ching-lung has played 11 years in the minor leagues, so he has been used to the comebacker drill. He does exactly what a pitcher is supposed to do. Turn it over to the middle infielders, and they make 2 throws and get the out. And that upsets the skipper. Victor Mesa put the sacrifice bunt on, and now he loses that runner in scoring position because of a good defensive play by Chinese Taipei.
Well, on his way to the mound, as you could see, Shea Chung-hung, the skipper of Chinese Taipei, and that's it for Lo Ching-lung. Lo is on his way to the dugout, and Chinese Taipei, an early call to the bullpen. He made a nice play on his way out. There are 2 outs. Cuba's up 2-0 in the 3rd. Chinese Taipei has pulled Lo Ching-lung. Our game summary, you see his numbers. Lo 2 2/3 innings. Other end, Danny Betancourt, so far a shutout, and that home run hangs up on the scoreboard. Freddie Cepeda, the 2-run shot back in the 1st. And Cepeda, the switch hitter, hit it from the left side of the plate. He's on deck right now. Chinese Taipei goes with Yang Yao Shun, a left-hander, to face with a runner going, a swing and a miss. And a stolen base, easily done. Gurriel swipes a base, and Cuba's got a runner in scoring position with one of their better hitters at the plate. Jose Fernandez is now 8 for 13 in the Classic.
Boy, the pitcher never even looked at first base. Catcher didn't have much of a shot as Gurriel comes up with a big stolen base with 2 outs. Now he's in scoring position for one of the best hitters in the Cuban lineup.
And Fernandez gave up a strike to protect the runner. And he takes a nasty pitch from the outside corner. Just like that, he's behind in the count, 0-2.
Yang Yao Shun is a pitcher that pitches in the Japanese League. Signed with the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks in 2005.
The 0-2. Now the first at bat for Jose Fernandez, as Buck said, was pivotal. This was the hot smash that Kuo Yen Wen couldn't haul in.
Yeah, and that was with 2 outs. He stays in front of it, goes to first base, ends the inning. Cepeda never comes up, never bats in that inning, and Cepeda would deliver the 2-run home run after that base hit to right.
Down low, 2-2. Well, Yang certainly has a live fastball.
Young pitched a shutout against Oryx last year in the regular season in August. Struck out 10. So he's a seasoned big leaguer here in Japan. He needs his strikeout. This is the reason they brought him in, to get Fernandez. The on-deck hitter is a switch hitter, Frederick Cepeda.
And as far as Cepeda hit his home run, keep in mind that he's maintained to us that he's a better hitter from the right side of the plate right now. Which is scary because he's 7 for 14 in the Classic. Pulled down the line and picked up Hong Cheng Ming. Chinese Taipei gets that 3rd out and keeps it at 2-0. Here's our game summary. 2-0 Cuba. Boy, Cuba opened with some great defense. Yulieski Gurriel with a sliding stop, and then a bang. Frederick Cepeda with a 2-run homer to deep right center field. 2-0 Cuba. First and second, 2 outs, and a fortunate bounce off of Danny Betancourt. And Chinese Taipei kept off the scoreboard, and it remains 2-0. Now, you say we've seen some crazy things. That's one of the things I like in Japan. You've got beer on the back of the vendors. It's a mini keg of beer, and they dispense it right in the seats.
Yeah, they do a lot of things that are very interesting as far as concessions go here. Of course, you're a big fan of the bento boxes, and you've worn out the bento boxes. If they had a frequent flyer card for bento boxes, you'd have a lot of free ones.
Still bitter that they do not offer a Willie Mo Pena bento box in Fukuoka, where he is playing for the SoftBank Hawks.
But the variety of food they offer at the concession stand is remarkable. Yeah, they have French fries. They have the Colonel, Kentucky Fried Chicken. But they also have a wide assortment of Japanese food, and it's very good. We've sampled a lot of it.
Yes, we have. Lin Chi-shin up for Chinese Taipei. Hitting here in the top of the fourth. The fans trying to serenade this team to get some runs. A liner to right. As Manny Tomas makes the catch. They've hit the ball hard against Betancourt. This is a team that has barreled up some balls.
Now there's a youngster that's having a nice meal of noodles as he watches this ball game. Yeah, you're right about the Chinese Taipei team. They're not intimidated by anybody they play. And this team is ranked 5th in the world. It's a lot better team than people realize. And they have played very well internationally over the years. They've just not fared well in the WBC.
And that's in the coaches poll too. There's more weight in that one. Change up, pop up. Josie Chi pops it up, and the first baseman Jose Abreu makes the catch. For those of you that have stayed up late with us, those of you that are just getting up with us, this is an elimination game. You win this game, you get to stick around. You lose this game, and you are out of here.
When you look back to Chinese Taipei in 2009, they lost to Korea 9-0. China beat Chinese Taipei 4-1. They were victimized by Ray Chang, who had a big game.
They've come a long ways in terms of competition. You know, their government put a lot of money in, $68 million a couple years ago, trying to revive baseball in Taiwan. And it seems to have worked. They were a terrific host in the first round in Taichung. Big crowds, lively crowds. They've traveled well here. There's a group sitting down the first baseline, and the outfield seats are packed with fans. Betancourt buries that one in the dirt. There is the IBAF world rankings. Cuba, United States, Japan, Korea, Chinese Taipei, Canada, Netherlands.
Well, the Netherlands is going to move up in that ranking for sure, the way they're playing right now.
Gurriel on the run, and he gets him. Nice running play. Gurriel has been outstanding at third base in this one, and Chinese Taipei trailing 2-0. 2-0 Cuba on top, bottom of the fourth here in Tokyo, and we're proud to have the MetLife blimp Snoopy 1 providing coverage from 1,500 feet in the air. The MetLife blimp has provided a unique perspective for fans for over 25 years and is thrilled to be a part of the 2013 World Baseball Classic. Tokyo Dome City is the amusement park, the hotel, and all the restaurants and shops around the Tokyo Dome in downtown Tokyo. Frederick Cepeda, 2-run homer, back in the first from the other side of the plate. So this is first at bat against the lefty. Pulls it foul. Yang Yao Shun.
His home run came in the first inning with 2 outs and a man on from the left side of the plate. He put a beautiful swing on the ball and hits it deep into the seats in right. 2 more RBI for Cepeda. He now has 24
RBIs in the World Baseball Classic. That's the all-time record. He also has 29 career hits. He has 7 hits this year in the tournament, and now he has taken the lead. He passed Ichiro Suzuki, who had the highest hit total with 24. So he's truly been the most prolific run producer in WBC history.
Jose Abreu is on deck. Cepeda sitting on a 3-1 pitch in the bottom of the 4th. And just missed. The catcher, Cao Chi Kong, held it and framed it. Victor Mesa has come out. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a manager come out and take the bat from a hitter that just walked.
Well, and you know what? He probably said something to the batter, Jose Abreu.
Watch ball 4. It's off the plate, and Cepeda comes out. He walks, and then Mesa came out of the dugout to pick up the bat. I think he said something to Abreu.
Yeah, Abreu, you're right. The on-deck hitter coming up. And he drops down a bunt, first base side. Got to wait till the second baseman's there, and he throws it into right field. Cepeda to third, Abreu to second. And a huge mistake for Chinese Taipei. Yang Yao-shun turned, and he thought the second baseman, Kuo Yen-wen, would be there, and the hesitation forced him to alter his throwing motion.
And you can see Mesa was celebrating in the dugout because he had his number 5 hitter deliver the sac bunt. The pitcher hesitates, can't find the second baseman, and when he does, he airmails the ball into right.
The second baseman was late getting to the bag, and that's the second miscue he's had in this game. And it has proven costly, as once again Cuba is knocking on the door, and they already lead 2-0. But Mesa came out, picked up the bats, and while he was out there, he said, "Hey, Abreu, get the bunt down."
Probably because Abreu wasn't sure of the bunt sign. He rarely gets it. It's going to be I would expect a sacrifice. And then in throwing error, the infield is in. And with much reluctance, because Alfredo Despain is up. And he can punish a baseball. Takes a strike. Especially on this carpet against a guy this strong.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup for the left-hander, Yang Yao-shun. Despain is a hard charge and power hitter. This could be the game right here.
Cepeda and Abreu out on the bags. And Yang Yao-shun not getting that pitch. Count goes to 1-1. Lefty trying to stay composed.
Yang Yao-shun made 7 starts for SoftBank last year. Had a very good ERA over the course of just 42 innings. He had a 1.48 ERA, so he's got some experience. But he's going to have to walk a tightrope to get out of this jam.
It's the heart of the Cuban order. Cepeda, Abreu, Despain. Despain, 3-time MVP in Cuba. Chopper into center, base hit. Cepeda held at third is Abreu. And Despain with an RBI single. So Cuba adds to their lead. A little bit surprised that Abreu was held at third base.
Despain hit a home run in yesterday's game, and here he delivers an RBI single. Cepeda scores. Abreu is stopped at third base. But it's another inning where
Chinese Taipei has given Cuba an opportunity. The leadoff walk, then the air by the pitcher, and finally a bouncing ball single up the middle cashes in the first run of the inning.
Now, there is nobody out, and so you've got Yasmani Tomas coming up. So in stopping the runner, Abreu still 90 feet away, and Despain is at first. And Tomas cranks one into right field deep. Back goes Chong Ching Mong. Looks up. It's gone. And Cuba has broken it open. Tomas, an opposite field shot.
Victor Mesa, with one out and nobody out, asked his number 5 hitter to bunt. Abreu got the bunt down. Chinese Taipei made an error, and then an RBI single and a 3-run shot. You just knew this was not going to go well for Chinese Taipei after the leadoff walk in the air.
And that's the short part of this ballpark. The gaps are just 360. You drive one to the gaps and you elevate it. It's a 14-foot wall out there. Cuba's hit a pair of home runs and leads at 6-0. Well, the worst case scenario for Chinese Taipei is making mistakes and giving Cuba extra outs. And the Cubans have punished them and punished the baseball. 2-run homer by Frederick Cepeda, 3-run homer by Yasmani Tomas, and now Lin Yu Ching comes out of the bullpen, second out of the bullpen, and it's only the bottom of the 4th. 6-0, Cuba on top.
You just can't afford to give a powerful team like Cuba those extra opportunities. And really, when you think about it, the play in the first inning that led to a 2-run home run, when Cepeda was up in the first inning, reached after a base hit by Fernandez, which could have been an out. And then Yasmani Tomas getting a start. It's his second home run of the tournament. He has shown power to the opposite field. He's also pulled the ball way out of the ballpark. And how about hidden in the middle of all that? A sacrifice bunt by the number 5 hitter.
Frank Morejon is hit on the first pitch from Lin Yu Ching. Well, that's not a good start for this right-hander out of the pen. And now Cuba, a team that's been waiting to explode. Yesterday, Cuba bounced into 4 double plays and had another double play turn on him by one of the best plays you'll ever see. Andrelton Simmons made a sliding catch in shallow center, popped up and threw a runner out at first for a double play. So 5 double plays, and Cuba frustrated in a 6-2 loss to the Netherlands.
And Victor Mesa after the game said he felt like his team should have scored more runs. He didn't think like Team Netherlands was that tough a ball club. But I was impressed by the Netherlands, not only the way they swung the bats, but the way they played defense.
Little one hopper, an out there, and the relay is not in time from Lin Chi-shin. Well, the quote from Victor Mesa, that was the back of it. The front of it is what drew a lot of attention. He was talking about the Netherlands, who had just beaten his team 6-2. I don't think they're a very good team, to be honest. I think we could have scored more. I think we should have scored 4 or 5 more runs.
They left 6 on base, but it would have been much higher had they not hit into 4 ground ball double plays and hopped into another. But I know for a fact the Netherlands has seen that quote, and that's got to give them a little extra incentive should these 2 teams meet down the road.
Well, the Netherlands left twice as many runners on base in that one. They had 14 left on base, so they could have scored an awful lot of runs as well. They ended up scoring 6.
Yeah, and they were just 3 for 16 with runners in scoring position, so it could have been a much uglier score in favor of the Netherlands.
Jonathan Scope's 3-run homer, the big one. Runner goes. El Grillo bounces it to short, and Lin Chi-shin throws him out. Nice play by Lin. That does not make Victor Mesa happy. He's up 6-0, but he's still managing. He's still coaching. That was Heredia bouncing out. And here comes Yulieski Gurriel. Mesa was a terrific player, one of the top 100 athletes in Cuban history. Played for Villa Clara. Great base stealer. And a terrific international player. But well known in international circles as a fiery, colorful, fill-in-the-blank manager.
I talked to a bunch of the people that travel with this Cuban team and asked them about the players' perception of Victor Mesa. And all I heard was rave reviews. The players love playing for him. And I just got to question whether or not the pitchers love playing for him. The hitters might like him.
Yeah, I don't think any pitchers were involved in that
survey.
That survey.
Well, all they care about is advancing. And there has been some concern, obviously, now with a 6-run lead in the bottom of the 4th. They've got to feel a little bit better. But you see Mesa, he never stops coaching.
Well, the one thing is true, too. If you miss a play on the field, if you're a fan and you miss something on the field, all you got to do is watch Mesa, because he reenacts the play. Whether it's a swing, whether it's a pitch, Mesa is sure to reenact it.
Well, he was very animated as a player, and obviously he hasn't lost any of that fire. But you can see Frederick Cepeda there leaning on the rail. He's a calm and cool veteran of this ball club. He's been around Mesa a while. He understands, hey, we'll play our game. Victor's going to do his thing, and it's not going to bother us.
What would it be like to be his bench coach?
You're always wrong. Why did you want to do that?
Gurriel waits. Pitch in the dirt.
But to his credit, Victor Mesa is a passionate man. It's a passionate game, and certainly Latin America in general. There's a lot of passion for baseball. And it's a fiery passion. We've seen it for years, and you can see he's still got that feel of being a player.
Gurriel moved up into the 2 spot, is 0 for 2. Counts 3-2. Lin Yu Chung, third pitcher to work for Chinese Taipei. Couple little things that Chinese Taipei did not do early have turned into big innings for Cuba. 2-run first, a 4-run 4th. Misses outside. Gurriel flips the bat on the plate and will trot down to first.
Yeah, the team from Chinese Taipei made some mistakes early in this ball game, and Cuba certainly took advantage of them. The leadoff walk in the 4th, I mean, that's a big mistake.
Especially in that part of the lineup, you walk Cepeda, and then you get to pitch to Abreu and Despain. And then it's Tomas who ends up hitting the 3-run homer behind Despain. Fernandez 1 for 2.
Now Lin Yu Ching is having trouble finding the strike zone. And this is a manager's nightmare. You're trying to retire a potent lineup, and you've got a pitcher that's struggling just to throw strikes. It's a formula for disaster.
Good changeup. 10 of the last 11 runs by Cuba have come via the long ball.
Fernandez thought that was high. Seeing motion to Jerry Davis, the home plate umpire, that it was upstairs in his mind.
Fernandez 1 for 2. Big classic. He is 8 for 14.
I've been impressed with Fernandez. You mentioned the runs scored. He had a 4-run game against China. He's shown good plate discipline. He has an idea what he wants to do at the plate. And he's a youngster.
He is just 24. His first World Baseball Classic. A little nubber out to short. And Lin Chi-shin throws him out. But a big inning. A couple mistakes. And a 3-run shot by Yasmani Tomas. This copyright telecast presented by the authority of the World Baseball Classic Incorporated may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent. World Baseball Classic. You saw that kiosk out there. Not a kiosk, an enormous tent is a better way to put it. And that has been a busy place even during the day with World Baseball Classic caps and shirts. Team Japan jerseys have been hot sellers. Fly ball out to open up the 5th inning for Chinese Taipei. That off the bat of Chong Chin-ming.
This is a very busy area around the Tokyo Dome and Tokyo Dome City. Big hotel right next door to the stadium and lots of restaurants, lots of activities. There's a big roller coaster out in the back. They have the parachute jump tower right next to the ballpark, and there's a lot of people that enjoy the atmosphere around this ballpark. And tomorrow night, you can bet it's going to be a rocking place.
Oh, tomorrow night is going to be fantastic. It is a winner goes to San Francisco game. And the loser is going to have to win another game to get there. That was the importance of the win yesterday by the Netherlands and by Japan. It puts them squarely in the winner's side. And tomorrow night, it's a winner versus winner. Danny Betancourt now with a 6-0 lead in the 5th. And the right-hander, who was terrific against China in a 12-0 win, still has yet to give up a run in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, and he's done a great job of just mixing up all of his pitches. He's not used his fastball as frequently tonight as we saw against China. Another breaking ball right there, and you wonder 6-0 why he wouldn't be more aggressive with his fastball, but he's fallen behind 3-1. His pitch count is at 65 now.
Fastball is up. And so the Cuba pen starts to loosen up, more so with the pitch count than with the leadoff walk, although you never know with Victor Mesa.
This is the second time Rivera and Gonzalez have been up tonight. They were up early in the ball game when Betancourt was a little shaky back in the 2nd, but they have just now started to throw.
A 1-out walk, actually. Kuo Yen Wen, number 9 hitter, is up. He had one of the harder balls of the night, that smash off of Betancourt's leg, the kick to the shortstop. And unfortunately for Chinese Taipei, they were down 2-0 at the time. It would have made it 2-1. Ball would have been in center. The runner from second would have scored. He hits another hard ball. Diving stop. Fernandez on his knees makes the play. Jose Fernandez has impressed scouts with his bat. And that's an impressive play with his glove.
Yeah, he's a good-looking player. He's got a lot of range at second base defensively. Made such a good play, the center fielder comes in to congratulate him. But this has a chance to be a hit if it gets through the right side, but Fernandez leaves his feet. He gloves it. Good play. The ball was actually past him, and then from his knees throws to first for the out. He has looked like a big league player throughout this tournament.
Victor Mesa had his bullpen up. Pitch count is at 68, 80 in the first round. And so Mesa sending Juan Dios de Pena out there again, his pitching coach. And Pena returns to the dugout. Betancourt trying to get the 5th inning in. Now in World Baseball Classic play, you don't have to go 5 innings to qualify for the win as a starting pitcher. Young Daikong is bounced out, has walked. This is an interesting dynamic crowd-wise. You saw from that shot, it's a big ballpark. It holds 43,000. There's a contingent of Chinese Taipei fans on the first base side. See them straight ahead there. And you see empty seats, but you look out into the outfield, and from foul pole to foul pole, it's packed, especially in right field.
It's a good crowd here tonight, considering the matchup. But this is a big baseball crazy city. And the fans from Chinese Taipei have made their way to support their team. It's the first time Chinese Taipei has advanced beyond the first round of the World Baseball Classic.
One pitch misses inside. Last night there were, I guess you could call them complaints, that there were no tickets available. The game sold out. There were 43,000 plus, and they stayed till the very end. And I mean, this place was loud from the start. High pop-up. Abreu calls, and he makes the catch. Chinese Taipei strands a runner halfway through in Tokyo, and it doesn't look good for Chinese Taipei. Cuba up 6-0. This is second round action, double elimination, and both these teams have a loss. Japan last night came from behind and beat Chinese Taipei, so Japan takes on Netherlands tomorrow night right here in Tokyo. Puerto Rico topping Spain. Italy mercy ruling Canada, and Mexico getting 4 early runs off of R.A. Dickey. A long home run by Adrian Gonzalez. And Mexico bounces back after their loss to Italy and beats Team USA. Frederick Cepeda, who hit a 2-run homer in the first, and Cepeda takes a strike. Lin Yu Cheng out there for Chinese Taipei in a 6-0 Cuba lead. Cuba looking like the team we saw in Fukuoka, with immense power, swagger.
It's got to be difficult for Victor Mesa to keep his team focused, because when you look at the raw talent, they are more talented than anybody in this pool. They've got power hitters, they've got good hitters, they've got switch hitters like Cepeda. And I'm sure the players look across the field and say, you know what, they're not a problem. But in this tournament, as we have seen, upset after upset in all of the different brackets, anybody on a given night can knock you off. And that's what Victor Mesa has tried to tell these players going all the way back to November.
One-two pitch, pretty good off-speed pitch, just missed.
Boy, Cepeda is a good hitter. From both sides of the plate, he's got a good idea. He will take his walks. He's not all about just putting up numbers. He has a good approach at bat after at bat.
That is strike 3 call. Changeup came back and caught the corner. And Cepeda's retired for the first time tonight.
Boy, this is a changeup that moves back over the inside corner. Cepeda thought it was going to be inside. Good arm action from the pitcher, Lin Yu Chen. He really sells it to Cepeda. That's a big strikeout.
Now the powerfully built Jose Abreu. And Abreu swings and misses.
Abreu bunted the last time up. Put down a sacrifice bunt, reached second base after the pitcher threw it away.
Ball and a strike. If Cuba wins this ball game, they would wait for the loser of tomorrow night, and that would be a Monday night matchup here in Tokyo. Winner of this game, loser of tomorrow night's Netherlands-Japan game.
Well, if Netherlands knocks off Japan, they would meet Cuba Monday night.
The loser of tomorrow night's game would meet Cuba on Monday night.
That's what I said. If Netherlands knocks off Japan,
then Japan would face Cuba.
Right.
You got it. We have brackets. We have sheets. We have more stuff than we know what to do with. Little things added up to big innings in this ball game. That play at second base, Kuo Yen Wen couldn't make the play. This a bunt play. And the home runs that followed were just devastating. Cepeda's 2-run shot. Yasmani Tomas with a 3-run homer in the 4th. High pop-up. That is one that almost scraped the roof. And it's caught there by Peng Chong-min. 6-0. Cuba on top. We're headed to the 6th. Good morning from Tokyo, or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're watching around the world. Cuba looking like the Cuba that walked through Fukuoka right here to Tokyo. 2 long home runs, a 6-0 lead, and in control of this ball game against Chinese Taipei. This building, the Tokyo Dome, home of the Yomiuri Giants, will have 43,000 again tomorrow night as Samurai Japan, as they're known here, will take on the Netherlands. The winner of that game heads to San Francisco.
A lot of teams throughout this tournament have been talking about San Francisco going back to the first round in Fukuoka. We have heard from the Cubans, that's all they have on their mind going to the finals. Remember, Cuba lost to Japan in the finals in 2006 in San Diego. And then they had a very disappointing World Baseball Classic in 2009. They were knocked out in the second round of that tournament. So they're very determined to get to San Francisco in the semifinals.
Danny Betancourt hangs one. Gurriel has been a vacuum at third tonight. And he throws out Lin Jiaxuan. Bracket me. Here we go. Yesterday in red, and what a day it was. The upset of Cuba, the nail biter, Chinese Taipei, a strike away from the biggest upset in their country's history over Japan. But Japan survived. They play Netherlands tomorrow, and here we are in game 3 with Cuba a 6-0 lead, top of the 6th. Fastball from Betancourt misses outside.
There are a lot of ramifications that will change dramatically as this tournament goes on. The host team, Japan, really escaped last night with an extra inning win against Chinese Taipei. And then Chinese Taipei just made some mistakes early in this game that afforded Cuba extra opportunities, and they made the most of it.
Danny Betancourt's at 77 pitches. 80 is the limit. Now, if he hits 80 during an at-bat, he can finish the at-bat. But Cuba has to be pretty pleased with this right-hander, not only in this start, but his previous start against China.
Betancourt is a veteran of 12 seasons in the Cuban National Series. That's what they call their professional season. Yonder Guevara and Norberto Gonzalez, these two have been up basically all night whenever they've had anybody throwing. It's been that tandem.
And Betancourt, with that strikeout, I think has bought himself another hitter. He's looking into the dugout. He knows that he's close to his pitch count. The pitch count is up on the scoreboard in center field, but obviously he doesn't see it. That looked almost like a screwball.
Yeah, he throws the kitchen sink. He gets a big strikeout, second out of the inning. You'll remember back in Betancourt's first start against China, he threw 65 pitches and had to leave the game, and he was very disappointed, and he was surprised when the manager came out to take him out. He didn't realize he had hit the pitch limit plateau.
Well, he's hit that plateau now, but by rule he can finish this at bat, so he can get through 6, although that's not going to help. The shortstop, Lin Chi-Chen, not real pleased with the location of that fastball.
Yeah, this one up and in. Lin has to duck. It looked like it went behind his head, and then you can see Lin look out as if to say, what was that all about?
Lin deep in the hole at short. El Grillo throws him out, and Danny Betancourt puts 6 scoreless in the books for Cuba. The Cubans have bounced back in a big way with a 6-0 lead over Chinese Taipei. This is an elimination game. Cuba's up 6-0, so the stakes are higher. So when a pitcher comes off after 6 scoreless, it's not high fives or fist bumps, it's hugs. Everybody gets hugs. Hugs for you, 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 hugs for you. Way to go. Nice job. Way to go.
Well, everybody in that dugout knows had Betancourt not shut down Chinese Taipei through 6 innings, they had a chance of going home. They've got a comfortable 6-0 lead right now, but the prospects of going on and possibly going to San Francisco compared to going back home with a disappointing finish to this tournament.
You know, not only did he shut down Chinese Taipei, he shut down Victor Mesa. Mesa, the animated manager of the Cubans, who has been a frequent visitor to the mound in the Classic, even in ball games in which he's got a lead, a substantial lead. And Betancourt was out there for 6, and of course, as you saw, the first to hug him was Mesa. This was an impressive drive. Yosmani Tomas, the 3-run shot, and it stretched the lead to 6-0.
Yosmani Tomas has had an impact for Cuba. He's hit 2 long home runs in this tournament. Cuba sent 9 men to the plate in the 4th inning. They scored 4 runs on just 2 hits, but the big shot in that inning, the 3-run home run to right by Tomas. You know, as much as we talk about Victor Mesa and his emotional animation in the dugout, he's made some pretty heady moves.
Yeah, I think that kind of is a distraction to how good a manager, how good a game manager he is.
Yeah, just calling you Tomas's number tonight again, and he's used him very effectively in limited appearances in this tournament.
And then Yu Ching gets a strikeout. Tomas strikes out.
That looked like a screwball too, a changeup that he turns over and creates that spin down and into the right-handed hitter.
Frank Morejon got a start in this ball game, and although Morejon hasn't hit a home run or have a hit, he's 0 for 1. Be interesting to see if he sticks in the starting lineup, if Cuba wins this game and gets to Monday night. Pitch in the dirt, and the count's 2-0.
Then Yu Chin has kind of stabilized things for Chinese Taipei since he's entered the ball game. Has a couple of strikeouts. He has not allowed a hit. He's hit a batter and walked a batter.
This is a tall order for Chinese Taipei. Victor Mesa has got relievers, and he's not afraid to use them. And they don't have Chin-Ming Wong to lean on. Wong was terrific last night. He kept Japan off the board for the first 6 innings.
Yeah, I think they felt like that was their best shot to get Chin-Ming Wong and have him start game 1.
A righty, a lefty in the bullpen. That's a fair ball. Down the line it goes, and Morejon is on his way around from first. He'll stop there. Good throw from left by Young Dae Kong. That's how you win a Gold Glove, and he did.
Young Dae Kong, the left fielder, plays here in Japan in the Japanese Professional League. He makes a good play. He knows this ballpark, knows exactly how much room he has down that left field line. He made a strong throw to keep Morejon to a long single to left.
He plays in Sapporo for Nippon Ham. Went to high school in one of our favorite places here in Japan, Fukuoka, where we spent a whole week and had a great time. Barbaro Arua Barruena. And a pitch misses in.
Arua Barruena, the shortstop, has really drawn a lot of attention from the scouts. They like his athleticism. We really haven't seen him swing the bat as well as he's capable of yet in this tournament. But he's made all the plays at short.
He plays for the Elefantes del Cienfuegos. And yes, the name is a handful, both for announcers and for tailors who have to stitch that on the back of a uniform. One pitch got in on him, and he fights it off. It counts 1-2. Happy to see that on the At-Bat app, the World Baseball Classic At-Bat app that is on the iPad and the iPhone, in the game day where they have the virtual box score, they have the Tokyo Dome in the backdrop. It's impressive. And so is that. That's a base hit. Let's see if Young Dae Kong can haul this one is, and he does it again. Twice he has picked balls that have gone between the third baseman and the left field line and kept a runner from advancing.
Yeah, he has played here in Japan since 2007, and Young Dae Kong gets over here quickly. He's very athletic. He hits in the leadoff spot in the batting order and makes a strong throw to third to hold Morejon, the catcher, at second base. Keeps him from going first to third on the base hit by the shortstop.
So a pair of singles here in the 6th. Here's Heredia, center fielder, leadoff man.
Heredia doesn't get cheated. We have seen that throughout this tournament. He's unusual in it. He's a left-handed thrower, right-handed hitter, a la Ricky Henderson. You don't see that very often, but boy, he plays a very good center field, and he can really swing the bat.
Aren't many of those in the big leagues. Cody Ross, fine outfielder, one of those. Got him in the back.
Well, you just have to wonder if that's not in retribution for Lin, their shortstop, having one thrown behind his head. Chinese Taipei now has hit a couple of batters. They hit the catcher back in the 4th inning. And already he gets drilled right square in the back. But Betancourt threw one behind Lin Chi-Xuan's head in his last at bat. That was the last batter that Betancourt faced. Things are getting a little suspect now.
And again, it's the second time we've seen Victor Mesa come out of the dugout and head to the plate. The first time he came out to pick up a bat from a guy who had walked, and as you pointed out, he was imparting to Jose Abreu that he wanted him to bunt.
Well, the first batter that Lin Yu-Chin hit was his first batter of the ball game, and it was after a home run.
Yulieski Gurriel is the hitter, and Cuba is going to run for Frank Morejon.
Morejon started as the catcher. He's disappointed he's lifted out of this ball game, man.
It's a little stunning because if he isn't fast enough to run from second on first and second, why is he not fast enough to run from third with the bags loaded and one out? Liner to center field, and the pinch runner can trot home. And Cuba has a run, and it's 7-0 now. And Gurriel gets just his 4th hit of the Classic, but it's an RBI single, and Cuba's on the verge of another big inning. With one out, it's 7-0.
Gurriel was moved up into the 2nd spot in the order tonight by Victor Mesa, and he's reached base 3 times. This is his first hit. He drives home the pinch runner, Luis Rivera, and it's a 7-0 Cuba lead.
Che Chong Hung will lift the right-hander. Cuba up big. Inside the Tokyo Dome, Chinese Taipei is just hanging on right now. Wang Yicheng into the ball game, and he becomes the 4th pitcher to work for Chinese Taipei.
And he's got his hands full, bases loaded, 1 out, and the always tough Jose Fernandez. They go to the lefty-lefty matchup, but the bases are loaded, and Cuba is threatening to break this thing wide open.
Cuba on their heels all day yesterday. Once Kurt Smith hammered one out to left field, and the Netherlands took the lead. But here in this one, they have struck first, and they strike again. Fernandez drives it down the right field line. That's going to score a bunch. Scoring is El Grillo, Heredia behind him, and all 3 will score. Gurriel comes across as well. Jose Fernandez is having an incredible World Baseball Classic. He is now 9 for 16 with 5 RBIs.
Well, this is what Cuba is capable of, and the big bats are going. 2 home runs tonight, and the number 3 hitter, Jose Fernandez, not wasting any time, jumps on the first pitch from Wang Yicheng and cleans the bases. A 3-run double down the right field corner. It's 10-0 Cuba.
Victor Mesa is going to pinch run for Fernandez. And he's going to bring into the ball game Andy Ibanez. So Ibanez comes in. Now the mercy rule is not in effect yet. You've got to get through the 7th. A long way from extra innings, but just in case, there'll be a quiz on that once we get through the 7th. Here's Cepeda. So Ibanez is out at second. If Cuba holds this 10-run lead and gets through the 7th, the top of, and it's over. It's called early termination. And you go to the bottom paragraph, 10 or more, the completion of the 7th, the team that is trailing has to hit in the 7th inning.
We have seen that utilized a couple of times already in this tournament. Cuba Did it to China in Fukuoka, and Italy did it to Canada. A 14-4 win for Italy over Canada. Boy, Italy's been a big surprise.
Tommy Lasorda must be beside himself. Cepeda, two-run homer in the first. That was from the other side of the plate. And he takes a knee-high strike.
We mentioned Cepeda has a very good eye up to plate. He struck out, was fooled on a changeup back in the 5th inning. But after the home run in the first, he walked and scored in the 4th. He's just got a good eye from both sides of the plate.
Fouls it back, and it's 2-2. Guang Yi Cheng. The Chinese Taipei fans who were enthusiastic early, obviously well schooled in the rules of the World Baseball Classic, concerned that their team is about to get mercy ruled here. Or if you want, terminated early. Any way you look at it, it's not good. That one is dumped into right center field. Ibanez is going to score easily. Cepeda wants 2, and he's got it with a double. And the route is on.
A 5-run inning, and there's still just 1 out. Cepeda with his 3rd RBI of the night. And this is the Cuban team flexing their muscles. Took them a while to get it going, but boy, oh boy, hitting tough pitches like Cepeda. He goes down and gets that off-speed pitch and drives it into the gap in right center. Chases home the pinch runner, Andy Ibanez, and it's a 5-run inning. Boy, he's a good-looking hitter. Both sides of the plate.
Here's Abreu now. What this means for Cuba. They will have tomorrow off. Tomorrow, Sunday, here in Tokyo. And then on Monday, they will meet the loser of tomorrow's game, which is Netherlands and Japan. And in that game, if Cuba wins that game, they're headed to San Francisco. High drive, deep center. Lin Chi-Shuen is back, and that is gone. My goodness. Mammoth home run. This is a power show. This is what we've been watching in batting practice for the last week and a half.
I think the Cubans have given notice they're not ready to go home just yet. 13 runs on 11 hits, 3 home runs, and up and down the order they have potent bats. They couldn't come up with a big hit against the Netherlands. This is a changeup. Watch, there it is, up out over the plate, right up in his eyes, and Abreu hammers it to deep center field. Hit a 5 RBI game in Fukuoka. But they do a good job. Cepeda with the RBI double in the gap. Abreu a 2-run home run, and the route is on.
13-0 Cuba. Cuba with 7 runs here in the 6th inning. The big hits, Jose Fernandez, a 3-run double. Jose Abreu, a 2-run homer. And what's at stake here, Cuba winning. If they win this ball game, they will advance to game 5 and get the loser of tomorrow's Japan-Netherlands matchup. The young right-hander delivers, and Alfredo Despain fouls a pitch off, breaks his bat. This right-hander, Zhen Renho, throws hard.
Yeah, he's just 18 years old. Last year, he played for the Chinese Taipei national baseball team in the World Junior Championships. That's a competition for players under 18 years old. He was 3-0 with a 0.84 ERA. He's a up-and-coming rising star for Chinese Taipei, but just 18 years old.
Big swing and a miss. Alfredo Despain. Despain, RBI single in the 4th. He's had a nice tournament so far. A homer, couple RBIs. That solo shot coming yesterday against the Netherlands, and it was an opposite field shot.
'89 with the fastball off the plate. Scouting report suggests that Tseng hits 90s, lower 90s. We haven't seen that yet. But he certainly has the frame that would catch your eye if you were a scout.
Fastball misses in. And it's 2-2.
Got to be a little intimidating for an 18-year-old to be warming up in the bullpen. Come into a ball game facing Cuba, who's pounded out 11 hits, including 3 home runs, and scored 13 runs.
I think if you're one of the relievers, you may have had the inclination to get up in the bullpen and turn the television off, because the bullpens are hidden and the relievers are in that cavernous pen with only a television to connect them to the outside world. That one's driven left center field. That one's deep. Goodbye. My goodness. Cuba flexing its muscles. 4th home run of the ball game. Despain's 2nd home run here in Tokyo, and a little bit of a smile for his teammates.
Well, they have turned it on tonight, and this is the type of offense we expected from Cuba. 4th home run of the night, 2nd of the inning, and that is a home run hitter power swing right there. Fastball up, and Despain knew it immediately. He pauses to enjoy that booming drive to the seats in deep left center.
Yasmani Tomas coming up. 8 runs here in the 6th. Earlier in the inning, there's a liner right to the shortstop, and it's caught. Earlier in the inning, we showed you the mercy rule, and that 15-run cushion is close by. All right, Puerto Rico, Dominican, and Spain coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern in Phoenix. Canada and Mexico. Canada was mercy ruled. Mexico bounce back win over USA. Puerto Rico against Venezuela. That's a terrific matchup. 1st round winners. Excuse me. Venezuela a loser in the 1st round.
Lost to the Dominican Republic
in a big way.
They need a win.
And Puerto Rico beat Spain 3-0. So
Puerto Rico scored 3 runs in that ball game, all in the 1st, and then Spain shut them out the rest of the way.
Here's Rivera, who came in as a pinch runner, and he sprays one out towards the shortstop. Around it is Lindsey Shin. Cuba's just 3 outs away from ending this thing. 14-0. This one has gotten out of hand. Cuba 2 runs in the 1st inning, 4 in the 4th, 8 in the 6th. Norberto Gonzalez comes in relief of Danny Betancourt. He was terrific. 4 home runs, a 3-run shot.
Ariel Sanchez, the starting catcher, is into the game, taking over behind the plate.
And a breaking ball from Gonzalez for a strike. A couple of 2-run shots and a solo shot for Cuba. Josie Chi for Chinese Taipei, who needs to score 5 runs to keep this game going. The early termination rule, Section 1, Clause 2. You know, we talked about, hey, 10 runs after 7. They almost got to 15 runs. Had Cuba scored another run in that inning, the game would have been over right then. Because 15 runs after 5, and it's over. That's a strike. And that man continues to impress everybody who has watched him play both in Fukuoka and here in Tokyo.
Alfredo Despain, Yasmani Tomas, Jose Abreu, all with big home runs. They've hit 4 home runs here tonight. The DH, Frederick Cepeda, the veteran of 3 World Baseball Classics, got it started with a 2-run home run. And in our open, we talked about the veteran leadership coming up with a key hit, and it was Cepeda. 2-run homer in the first.
You're right. And a little thing that didn't go right. A 3rd out that Chinese Taipei should have had, they didn't get. And a 2-run homer, the result. And that pattern continued in the 4th on the 3-run homer by Tomas. A botched bunt by Chinese Taipei. And then in the 6th, the floodgates were open, and it was home run derby time. Abreu, a 2-run shot to deep center field. And then Alfredo Despain homering as well. 1-2 pitch. Gonzalez has been good in relief for Cuba.
Gonzalez pitched just a 1/3 of an inning in last night's game. He was in the ball game in the Netherlands game yesterday afternoon, the first game of 2. He faced 1 batter and gave up a sacrifice bunt. Cuba has really flexed their muscles with the bats in this game. They lost 6-2 to the Netherlands, but they had 12 hits in that game and 2 home runs. So they've hit 6 home runs in their first 2 games in this round, and they are anxious to continue with the hot bats at the plate.
You know, that that just raises the stakes for tomorrow's game even higher. The winner goes to San Francisco. The loser is still a win away from San Francisco, but that would have to come at the expense of this team of Cuba, who's putting 14 on the board. Remember, Chinese Taipei was a strike away from beating Japan last night in a low-scoring game. Fly ball left field, and an easy play out there for Despain.
Well, we have the game tomorrow. Obviously, Kenta Maeda will go to the mound for Japan. He threw very well his first time out. And the veteran, Rob Quarterman's 38 years old, will pitch for the Netherlands. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. And I believe that the Netherlands can swing the bats with anybody, including this Cuban team. They have balance. They have patience at the plate. They're very selective hitters. And they've got some young guys that are on the threshold of becoming Major League stars.
If the Netherlands wins tomorrow, they don't have to face Cuba unless Cuba gets all the way through to Tuesday night. Tuesday night's game will have both teams that are headed to San Francisco playing for seeding.
That's when seeding really becomes important, because then you can manipulate your pitching. Remember, the teams that leave Tokyo will have off time once they get to San Francisco. They'll probably go down to Arizona and play an exhibition game or 2, but continue to work out. So they can manipulate their rotation and pick the starter they want to open up in that semifinal game. So seeding becomes very important as to who you're going to meet in the semis.
Chen Young-ji, 1 for 2. Just 3 hits for Chinese Taipei. And that one into center field. 2 hits for Chen Young-ji. What a difference just a split second makes, or an inch or two on a fastball makes for Chinese Taipei. That split second, of course, last night on the stolen base. That inch on a fastball to Ibada in the 9th. As he worked the count, got deep in the count, and then lined a single to tie the game and send it to extra innings. Split second earlier, the outs at second. Toritani would be thrown out for the 3rd out, and Chinese Taipei would be watching Japan play Cuba right now and getting prepared for Netherlands. As it is, they run into Cuba, and Cuba with 4 home runs and a 14-0 lead.
Let's go back to last night's game with 2 outs. The potential of the game ending on a bang-bang play at second. Toritani steals it. He would come in to score the tying run, send the game into extra innings, and Japan would win in the 10th.
Zhang Chen-ming. And the count is 1-1 on the right fielder. Well, regardless of the score of this ball game, Chinese Taipei, I think, has earned themselves some respect internationally, winning their pool, getting here, taking Japan to extra innings in Tokyo. Obviously running out of steam here against Cuba.
Yeah, and you talked about baseball being a game of inches. Even in this game, although it's 14-0, it was a matter of inches early in the ball game, and it might have been a totally different game.
Good ball game with Japan and the Netherlands from Pool 1.
Kenta Maeda went 5 innings in his first outing against China, allowed just 1 hit, walked a batter and struck out 6. He is truly an ace in a starter-rich pitching staff for Japan.
2-2. The Chinese Taipei fans are still going strong. Early termination rule or not, they would like to see a run. And a swing and a miss. So Zhang Chen-ming goes down on strikes, and Chinese Taipei is down to their last out. Lin Han will run at first, and I think Japan, or excuse me, Chinese Taipei is going to have a pinch hitter as well. Victor Mesa is going to change pitchers. So Victor Mesa is going to change pitchers. 14-0 Cuba. Well, Chinese Taipei fans, Cuban fans, they all know the rules. If Raciel Iglesias can get this out, Cuba will take the win. It's 14-0 here in Tokyo. Pitch runner at first is Han. And here is Lin Hong-yu.
And a chance to pinch hit here. Obviously, manager for Chinese Taipei, Shekong Han, getting some guys an opportunity to hit in the Classic.
Goes after the first pitch from Iglesias in the air. And Heredia is there, and Cuba is still alive. The Cubans wipe out Chinese Taipei. They do it with the long ball. Frederick Cepeda, Yosmani Tomas, Jose Abreu, and Alfredo de Spain play long ball.
Well, they sure did, and Chinese Taipei just made a few too many early mistakes, and the powerful Cuban team took advantage
Frederick Cepeda, the all-time career home run leader in World Baseball Classic history, delivers a big 2-run home run, and the Cubans were off and running in the first.
And we've got a terrific ball game tomorrow night. Full house, Japan and Netherlands. There's your box score, 14 runs on 12 hits. Tomorrow's gonna be a fun night here. 7 o'clock Tokyo time start, and the joint will be jumping.
That sure will be, and the Netherlands are a very good ball club. The home team, Japan, anxious to continue throughout this pool. They don't want to go home early. They want to go to San Francisco. It should be a great matchup tomorrow night.
Got 4 more games coming up in the World Baseball Classic. Dominican and Venezuelan Pool C starts it tomorrow. It's Netherlands and Japan, and the winner will go to San Francisco. Check your local listings for the game times in your area. For Buck Martinez and our entire crew here in Tokyo, I'm Rich Waltz. The proceeding has been a special presentation of the World Baseball Classic.